Stonehenge is a mysterious place, and its significance has been hotly debated for a long time. Lately it has been accepted that the builders of Stonehenge lived behind the Durrington Walls, 3 kilometers from Stonehenge. Recently a stunning new discovery was made of a monument in this area even larger in scope than Stonehenge itself. Watch this video till the end to learn about the discovery and its significance. And, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with other exciting archaeological discoveries. Possibly the most well-known megalith in the United Kingdom is Stonehenge. But, the structures that surround this monument, which dates back about 5,000 years, have equally fascinating histories. Consider Durrington Walls, a sizable Neolithic hedge situated less than 2 miles to the northeast of its more well-known neighbor. Although Stonehenge was probably a hallowed site for rituals and burials, prehistoric humans actually lived and feasted at Durrington Walls. A new layer of this historical environment is now being revealed by recent research that was published in the journal Internet Archaeology. Around Durrington Walls, a mile-wide circle of deep pits are scattered over the landscape. Archaeologists had previously found many of the features. A recent phase of remote sensing testing and ground sampling revealed that the pits, buried behind layers of loose clay that collected over time, are deeper and more purposefully positioned than previously believed. Archaeologists had previously found many of the oddities. The Neolithic site may have once been home to more than 30 similar pits. There are now 20 or more. Each pit is approximately 15 feet deep and 30 feet broad. The pits were likely dug by prehistoric people using tools composed of bone, wood, and stone. It's incredible that they were able to alter the chalky rocks in that way. Stonehenge was for the dead, Durrington was for the living, Vincent Gaffney, an archaeologist at the University of Bradford, told the New York Times. But now, what we are probably looking at was this great big boundary around them, probably warning people of what they are approaching. Gaffney claims that as a result of the finding, the location now has been recognized as the largest prehistoric building in all of Great Britain and possibly all of Europe. It has completely transformed how we understand this landscape, there is no doubt about it, he says. According to the report, when archaeologists first saw evidence of the pits in 1916, they thought the buildings were dew ponds, or small artificial pools made to hold drinking water for livestock. Several others hypothesized that the pits were sinkholes. Ground-penetrating radar, however, showed the shaft's actual depth, and core samples obtained from a pit's base produced bone pieces that allowed researchers to carbon date the pit's first infilling to around 2500 BC, according to a release. Although we typically picture Stonehenge as a stone monument above the ground, these new discoveries are actually underground. A research team led by archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson has discovered a vast circle of previously unknown pits completely encircling the nearby heritage site of Durrington Walls, the location of the settlement used by the people who actually built Stonehenge thousands of years ago. The pits, in a sense, connect the settlement to Stonehenge. English heritage researcher and Stonehenge expert Susan Greene, an archaeologist with about 10 years of experience, explains, 18 months ago, I was emailed the plan of what had been discovered. And for quite a long time, I didn't even believe that it was true because it was such a ridiculous new discovery. These pits are 5 meters deep and about 10 meters across at the top. So, these are big pits and they enclose a huge area, a whole valley basically. These pits kind of challenge us as archaeologists. Do we describe them as a monument? Monuments are usually stone circles or perhaps earthwork monuments. We know they've got timber monuments at this time, but this huge circuit of pits is probably nearly a mile across in diameter. So, it seems like it's a huge enclosure for some reason and an important part of the landscape. It's an extremely interesting discovery because even though the pits have been filled up, they still hold artifacts and relics from the little-known Neolithic civilization that built the monument. And while Stonehenge's upright stones and lintels are physically impressive, the contents of these underground pits are precious because they have been undisturbed for literally thousands of years. Tim Kinnaird dated the creation of the pits to around 2400 BC, using an optically stimulated luminescence technique to ascertain the last time the silt at the base of the trenches was exposed to sunlight. With each pit having various different fills that infilled at around the same periods, the approach also revealed striking commonalities among 6 of the pits. This implies that these characteristics are not natural, or that if they were, Neolithic humans modified them. They're completely forgotten about because they're filled in, they're plowed over, they're not visible, Greene says. We hope if we ever get to excavate one of these and certainly material like pottery, animal bones, antler picks, all the flint tools that people were using, they're usually best preserved down in what we call cut features, pits or ditches that are under the ground, because, of course, they haven't been disturbed. Despite the lack of written documents left by the people who constructed Stonehenge, we have pieced together a general image of their culture, and this enormous circle of trenches should help us fill in some of the blanks. Presently, it is known that they maintained herds of cattle, sheep, and pigs while traveling over the prehistoric landscape. We also know that they were enthusiastic monument builders, although we don't know why. In the late Neolithic period they are building across Britain and Ireland stone circles, henge monuments, timber palisaded enclosures, which have these huge fences enclosing areas, and much smaller monuments as well, Greeny tells us. It must be to do with their religious beliefs, it must be to do with the way that they're kind of gathering together and working together as communities. But we also know from the evidence that people were moving around a lot. People thought it really quite normal to be walking over hundreds and hundreds of miles in different parts of Britain. It's a really exciting time period to study for an archaeologist, but it's also pretty mysterious still because we don't really understand exactly why there's this huge explosion of monument building at that time. The size of the pits and circuits surrounding Durrington Walls is without precedent within the UK, says Bradford archaeologist Vincent Gaffney in his statement. It demonstrates the significance of Durrington Walls henge, the complexity of the monumental structures within the Stonehenge landscape, and the capacity and desire of Neolithic communities to record their cosmological belief systems in ways, and at a scale, that we had never previously anticipated. Archaeologist Mike Pitts responded to the find on Twitter. One's immediate reaction to this is disbelief, yet however hard you try to take it apart it stands up. Exactly when the pits were dug is not clear and their function is a mystery. People have been studying Stonehenge forever, and you shouldn't be able to discover something this large still, Gaffney tells The Times. But it's been made possible by the technology. In fact, despite being thousands of years distant from the present, this most recent discovery makes a significant contribution to putting Stonehenge in its proper historical and archaeological context, not as an isolated monument but rather as a connected and dynamic landscape. Stonehenge doesn't just sit by itself, Greeny says. It's not just a monument in the middle of Salisbury Plain and that's it. It's surrounded by a whole complex of other monuments, some of which are earlier than Stonehenge and some of which are contemporary and some of which have come afterwards. As archaeologists, while we understand quite a lot about Stonehenge itself, we're only really just beginning to understand about the wider landscape. And that promises a lot of new revelations about Stonehenge in the future.